For any new subscribers on my channel, I've had this channel for about a year and I've done a lot of videos. I'm not good at editing and I didn't put time into learning that because I would prefer to put the time that I have for this into research and info. Also, I don't do this for revenue and I never will. It's just me trying to sort out Satan's lies. And if I believe I've found a pattern, then I organize my thoughts and I share them here. And it doesn't cost me anything. Sometimes I recommend my prior videos on current videos since a lot of what I cover seems to be related. I appreciate comments and try to correspond with people because we're all learning this together as the veil is lifted. I would never preach to people or debate the Bible. I believe people's relationship with God is their own business, but I am a born-again Christian, saved by Christ. I do share Bible verses if I believe they are related to a topic that I am covering, and what I find confirms my own faith. Now on to the topic in this video. A friend sent me this video of the megalithic Kailasa temple to Shiva at the Ellora caves in India, cut from a cliff of granite, I think. It's considered one of the most remarkable cave temples in the world because of its size, architecture, and sculptural treatments. I'll link the video in the description for informational purposes, but my feeling about the narrator is that he probably works for the establishment. But the place is astonishing and massive, and this is it. This is the inside. There's a bunch of carvings that are very elaborate. This is the inside. It's believed to have been commissioned by Rashtrakuta, a ruler of that era, possibly Krishna. And Gary Wayne says that Krishna and Buddha are considered as reincarnations of Shiva. Not that he thinks they're reincarnations, but in that religion, they believe that both of those are reincarnations of Shiva. And Rashtrakuta was a royal Indian dynasty that ruled from 753 to 982 AD. And one legend is that one of the kings, maybe Krishna, suffered from a disease, but after his wife prayed to Shiva, he was healed. And in exchange, Shiva required a temple to her, so the king had this one built. Because of the engineering difficulty involved, architecturally, structurally, and even an advanced drainage system built to handle monsoons, it is said to be highly advanced technology, possibly the work of a technologically advanced civilization or superhuman technology. And I agree with that. But the question is, was it pre-flood advanced technology of the fallen and the dating is off, or is the dating correct and it's advanced technology given by the fallen to the people of that time? And I'll be covering my theory about how advanced technology is given by the fallen post-flood in this video, for temples like this and also for many other advanced technologies we see emerging today. But in the video that my friend sent me, they say the site of the temple and caves were discovered during a period of British colonial expansion in India. And it seems a lot of things were found during that same period. The narrator says that British officers often ventured on expeditions for leisure and exploration. That statement, and others, is why I think this video was produced by the establishment, and also because that channel has almost 2 million subs. Because I've noticed a pattern where all these British military people, usually Knights of the Crown, are also archaeologists who discover ancient ruins with historical and religious significance. And all these people also have other skills like scientism and literary skills also, which is a lot of the videos, what they cover on this channel. See my playlist titled Knights of the Crown. But the narrator says that it was during an excursion that the caves and temple were found, saying that overgrown vegetation of the region had concealed the caves and temple for centuries previously. Then in 1819 he says that it was stumbled upon accidentally by Sir Captain John Smith and his party, saying that he inscribed his name and date on the pillar inside. The accidentally part is likely complete BS because Captain John Smith is a person that I covered in my video titled New England. But to summarize, Sir Captain John Smith was a knight, a count, a mercenary, an English soldier, an explorer, colonial governor, admiral of New England, map maker, having mapped the entire east coast of New England in the New World, and an author, promoter of North American colonization. He was a mercenary in the army of King Henry IV of France against the Spaniards. He engaged in trade and piracy in the Mediterranean, fought and beheaded the Ottoman Turks, 3 of them, and then he was knighted by the Prince of Transylvania for that. Then he was promoted to cavalry captain while fighting for the Austrian Habsburgs. Then he charted and mapped the New World, and then he wrote books supporting English colonization of the New World, and apparently also discovered this ancient temple to Shiva in India. And that's a lot of stuff for one person to do. But this is a similar pattern that I've noticed for other British military people, and I'll give a couple of examples. So the first one is Sir Henry Rawlinson, who gained the title of Father of Assyriology, who unearthed 30 tons of cuneiform tablets in the Babylonian era, from the Babylonian era. The Sumerian, Assyrian, Anunnaki, ring lord, overlord type tablets. And he was an officer in the British East India Company, close associate to Lionel Rothschild and Cecil Rhodes. And that 30-ton find was supposedly shipped back to the Crown, but they say 90% of it sank or was stolen and never made it due to the most significant archaeological disaster in history, the Kurnow disaster. And this is my video about that, the Kurnow disaster. Another example is Knight of the Crown Sir Charles Warren, also British military, master of the first historical research Freemasonic lodge established in London in 1884. For more info on him, see my video titled Sir Charles Warren. One of his significant accomplishments was climbing Mount Hermon in 1889, where he found a stone pillar tablet inscribed in ancient language, which is now known as the Mount Hermon inscription. He translated it originally to say, according to the command of the greatest and holy God, those who take an oath proceed from here. But this tablet is connected to the oath taken by the angels under Shemjaza, who took an oath together bound by a curse in order to take the human wives, as in the Book of Enoch. And then it was later found that Warren's translation had added the term holy in error, but I think it was intentional, because the name of God referred to in the inscription was a Hellenized version of Baal and connected with the place of Baal Hermon, which Warren would have known because all the temples on that mountain were pagan temples, which was well known. He's also the one who founded the Boy Scouts, by the way, and I had forgotten about that. So I guess that's how John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt got in there, into the Boy Scouts. So this just gives you an idea of who these people, types of people are for context. So now let's talk about the theory of how advanced technology is given by the fallen post-flood to people like these that I mentioned earlier, and also others, for creating temples like this, and also discovering temples like this, and also for many other advanced technologies we see emerging today. So you'll hear a lot of people say that this or that is fallen angel tech, and I agree, but I'm interested in learning how they do it. Because to me, it's like they get a download of information that leads them to major ancient finds and ancient technologies, and then they put their stamp on it. And there are a few ways that I believe they communicate with the demonic realm. And a lot of times this will open up their pineal gland, which you'll see on a lot of their artwork and different information. So one of the ways is transcendental meditation, which is taught by Indian gurus and was taught to the Beatles, for example. Another way is astral projection. Another way is psychedelic drugs, like the mandrake, that's been grown in the Oxford Garden for 400 years, and magic mushrooms, like what are in the Queen's Garden, LSD, like what was used by the intelligence agencies, and lotus used by the ancient Egyptians, and I'm sure there are some that I didn't cover. Then, of course, there's witchcraft and black magic, which involves sacrifice and blood drinking. I've also been getting videos in my feed about UFO reports that occur around Cambridgeshire, which is the home of Cambridge University. And they have an entire department at Cambridge dedicated to reporting on this, on UFOs. And Cambridge is the sister school of Oxford. But once the demons start talking to them, they require sacrifice and they have other requirements. But regarding transcendental meditation, the Beatles used the transcendental meditation and psychedelic drugs, and they pushed both. They visited India and made a big deal to learn about it. And I'm not going to go over exactly what that is, but if you read about it, it seems like it's basically getting in touch with the spirit realm or demons. So Knight of the Crown, the fake Paul McCartney. See my video titled The Beatles for an explanation of how he's the fake. And his wife, Linda, and his children do transcendental meditation. And they still push it. This one is James McCartney. It says here he does transcendental meditation to deal with life stresses. You have Stella McCartney, Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, along with her dad. Fashion designer for the royals. Designed Meghan Markle's wedding reception dress. So she did it along with her dad to deal with her mom, Linda McCartney's death. And Linda McCartney was a Rev 29er. And I didn't know that transcendental meditation was part of the Jewish religion. I wonder if that's where they learned the art of murder, or if it was some other way. Murder by numbers, 1, 2, 3. It's as easy to learn as your ABCs, according to Sting, who's also a Knight of the Crown, and who's Stuart Copeland, their drummer, who was from a military intelligence family. And I guess they should know. All these people appear to be into witchcraft and fallen angel communications, and using the methods that I described earlier. It's very obvious in their language, literature, music, artwork, and movies, which is a lot of what I cover on this channel. Thanks for listening.